On this video, we're going to go through Lecture 8, Drafting Standards in AutoCAD. I'm going to start by creating a new drawing and saving my work. We're going to go through 4 commands: layers, title block, dimensions, and hatch. Starting with layers, layers are the best way to keep your drawing organized. We can create as many layers as we want. In here in our home ribbon, in the layers tab, I am gonna click layer properties. And as you guys notice right now, we've been working with only one layer, which is called layer 0. It has a check mark here, means that everything that I'm drawing right now, it's created under that layer. I have the color, the line type, the line weight, transparency. You can also see this bulb, which right now is yellow, which means that it's on. So everything that I'm drawing right now should be visible. If I turn it off, then everything that has been created under that layer will turn off. The printer here means that everything that it's on that layer is being printed when you create a PDF. So every time you print in, just make sure it's on. If you turn it off, looks something like this. Then when you try to create a PDF, everything created under that layer won't show up. This will block the layer. And in order to create a new one, we're gonna go to this icon here, and it's created a new layer called layer 1. We're gonna create some basic layers in this handout. We're gonna create hidden lines. You guys remember from our freehand sections, hidden lines are dash lines. So the line type, I'm gonna select a dash line. So I have to click load, and now I'm going to select dash X2. This just shows a better scaling, but the 3 dash lines here are similar. Okay, after you click OK, you still have to click and then say OK. So now hidden lines has a dash line. I'm gonna change the color. So I'm gonna do this one blue. And then we have created a new layer called hidden lines. I'm gonna go ahead and create the center line. So new line, center line. I'm gonna change the color. And then the center lines, if you remember, it's a longer dash line with then a shorter. So if you scroll through it, center right here, so a longer dash and a short dash. I'm also gonna select X2, okay. Now you still have to click center X2 and say okay. Now your center line has a line type of center X2. The visible line layer, we're gonna leave it as layer 0, or you can change the name to visible lines. This is the main layer where you will be drawing your main objects. Then we can create a cut in plane line. I'm gonna go green. And then the cut in plane, it's similar to a dash line. So I'm gonna go dash and then okay. Then if you guys remember, hidden lines are a little thicker, so I'm gonna select the 0.30 millimeters. And now when I print it, I won't be able to see it in the model, but when I print it, it will print with line weight thicker than the other ones. You can draw on different layers. Just make sure that if you want to change your layer, you double click the blue square and then make sure you have a check mark on that layer. So now everything that I draw will be created under the hidden layers. So if I draw a line, that's under the hidden layer. So the objects that I will create should be blue and it should have a dashed line. Center line, and then the cutting plane. You can change the layer of the object you created. You don't have to delete it. You can just double click it and then you can change the layer. You can double click it or you can click and then right click properties or quick properties. Properties will give you more options and then you can change the layer. Sometimes where the scale of your drawing does not match the scale of your line properties, you maybe not be able to see the dash lines or the center lines, right? So you can change the scale of the spacing of the line. So you will click it, you will go right click, create properties, or right click properties, and then you can change the line type scale here. And you want to go smaller. All right, so now the dash lines are closer together, or you can go bigger. You can turn the layers on and off. So if we go to layer properties, right now all our layers are on, but if I want to turn one of these off, so for example the hidden lines, I can click in this bulb and then everything that is created under that layer will disappear. Doesn't mean that it will be deleted, it will just be hidden for now. So everything we've been drawing so far has been created on the model tab, and then to print we'll be working on layer 1 and layer 2. In this video we'll go through how to properly plot a layout. So we're gonna set up our layout number 1, and ideally you save this as a template, so now every time you're creating a new drawing you can open your template. So for now I'm gonna click here outside this viewport and I'm gonna delete it. Now I have a white sheet. I'm gonna go right click down here in layer 1. I'm gonna do page setup manager, click layer 1, modify. I'm gonna select general documentation PC3. And then here I'm gonna make sure that I have the full bleed, but I want it in the landscape position. So I'm gonna select the one above that and it should look now like this. I'm going to select here monochrome. So every time I print it, everything will be black and white. And now I'm gonna do okay. Then close. Now here on the layout, I'm going to draw my title block. Title blocks are very important in technical drawing because it tells us a lot of information about the project we're working on. So we're gonna follow the handout and we're gonna create the title block here on layer number 1. So I'm gonna first select layer 0 because I wanna draw everything on layer 0. I'm gonna create lines. you're submitting a new assignment or project, make sure you're using this title block. So here you will put the module. So for example, module 8, and then here the specific description of what you're submitting. So for example, project module 8, and then homework assignment A. So now we're gonna save the title block as a block. Right, if you notice, right now we have different elements. So I'm gonna select everything. I'm gonna go to insert. I'm gonna create block. I'm gonna call it EGN title block. I'm gonna pick point. I'm gonna click one of the corners, and I'm gonna say okay. So now we have only one. To finalize the setup of our sheet, we're gonna create the margins. So if you remember for our module 1, for 8 by 5, 8.5 times 11 standard sheet, the margin should be 0.5 inches. So I'm gonna create the margins just by doing some lines. Finally, I'm gonna move my block to the corner. And this is the setup that we'll be using now on for all our submissions. We can go back and open our viewports again. So if we go to layout, here in layout viewports, I'm gonna select rectangular, and you can open more than one if you like. And then here, you will double click and zoom in on your drawing, the object you're trying to show. If you don't want three, you can just keep one for now. And then you will want to zoom in here. The last thing I want to do for our layout, I want to save it as a template so I can just open it instead of the AutoCAD one, and then I have all my layers and my title block already created. For that, I'm just gonna delete this so the template is completely clean. I'm gonna go to my annotation menu, save as, gonna select DWT, so AutoCAD drawing template, and I'm gonna go to my folder so I don't lose it. And I'm gonna call it CGN. So now every time you open a new file, so if I go annotation, new, instead of selecting one of the standard templates, we can open our own. And now the layout will be already ready for us, so we don't have to create the title block every time we are creating a new drawing. The next command that we're gonna cover in this tutorial is dimensioning. So the annotation or dimensions are here under the annotation tab. And if we go to this drop down menu, we have different type of dimension. So if we create some rectangles and some circles, we can select the type of dimension we want. So drop down menu, linear, and I can click the first point and then the second point and move up or down the location where I wanna put that dimension. So I'm gonna click here, It looks very small right now because the drawing, the scale is bigger, but in a little bit I'll show you how to fix that. We can also do it again from this point to this point, and then I have a second dimension. And I can also create dimension for circles and arcs. So if I drop down the menu, if I go to radius, I'm gonna click the circle and then I can move the dimension. I click again, now it's giving me a radius of 3.9727. And similar, I can do the diameter. So click the arc, and now I have the diameter of the circle. You can manually edit the dimensions. You can type in front of, after, or you can change the dimension manually, and you can also manually change the height. Just the same way that we did it previously for annotation. So you want to click it, highlight it, and then here you probably want to do 0.5, and then the dimension increase, or the height of the dimension increase. You could do this for every dimension, or we can just change the dimension properties. So for that, I want us to go to annotate. So here in annotate, we still have the text, the dimension, center lines, but now it has more information. For now, I want us to drop this arrow here, click it, and now we have the dimension style manager. Here we can create as many styles as we want, or we can just modify the standard one. So right now we only have a standard, so all the dimensions that we have created are under the standard one. So I'm gonna click modify, and then I can make different type of changes. So I can change the line, the arrow. So it's very small right now since the drawing is big. So if we want to increase it, you can change the height of the text. So here we can go 0.5, so all of them change. I wouldn't have to do it for each of them. Sometimes it's nice to have the add line with dimension line active, so the dimension will turn in the direction of the line. So I like having it on. Fed primary units, you can change the decimal. So right now we have 4. I'm gonna change it to 2. Alternate units, tolerance. Now I'm gonna go okay. I'm gonna go close, and now all the dimensions change. So this one increase more because we already changed it manually. But the arrows increase, the text height increase, the dimension flipped in the direction of the line, and the 2 decimals now appear. Again, this one got bigger because we changed that one manually. So now I can go to diameter, select. Now they will have the same height. You can create as many dimensions as you want. So if you have a drawing with different scaling, it's better to have more than one style. The last command I want to cover on this module is the hatching. And hatching is necessary when we're making section cuts. It's in the home ribbon under the draw section, and it's this rectangle with these lines. I'm gonna click it. I'm gonna stand inside the closed area. I'm gonna click. I'm gonna do enter, and now I have a hatching area. And it's very important that your boundaries are completely closed, because if you have an opening at some point, the hatching won't be created. Notice the lines are very close together since the scale of the drone is very big. So sometimes when you plot it, it could look just like a white area. So we can change that just by clicking, and then I can change the scale here in properties, and I can make it probably bigger, so 2.5. Now the lines are more apart, and you can also change the type of pattern that you want to use.